When it comes to backdoor play, I haven't always been a G, meaning I haven't always known how to prep, how to receive pleasure, and how to achieve an orgasm from anal sex. This is something that I had to research, and by research, I mean I spent a whole year on trying to figure out how to do it and how to do it where it feels good for me. Now, obviously, through all of that time I spent on research, I was able to figure out all these different golden nuggets on how to receive pleasure, how to prep, and how to catch that orgasm all through anal sex or just butt pleasure in general. Now, by no means am I done learning, because boy, I have learned so many things since then. There are definitely 4 tips that I think everybody should know before they venture in or when they're going into anal play. So let's kick it off with our very first one, which is going to be our mindset, the most important when you are going in. So a lot of the time when we hear about anal sex, we usually hear these 3 things: warm up, lubrication, and slow, which are all things that are 100% completely valid, but nobody ever talks about the mindset. The focus is usually on the man and then the woman receiving, but the pleasure is catered always towards the man. Nobody really talks about this orgasm that the woman will experience or the pleasure that the woman will experience. That's all just saying you're going to experience that, have fun. And then we're actually, if you're detached away from your body and you're not doing it for the right reasons, which is yourself, you wanting to do it, then we're just taking one for the team and we're taking it out, and a lot of the time we can feel a lot of shame after it's done. The really important thing about the mindset is knowing that you want it, that you are doing it for you. You are not doing it for your partner. This isn't a gift you're going to give them. We do not gift our body parts. I mean, you could if that's what you're into, but wouldn't you rather do it because you want to do it and because it feels good for you? Yeah, I think so. So first things first, you need to learn about what you like. I personally started off with butt plugs and masturbation. Then I moved to anal beads and that pulling out and receiving an orgasm from that. So you just have to play around and experiment with different tools. So you're gonna need to spend a little bit of money. But if you wanna learn how to receive pleasure, you're gonna need to spend some cash on proper training tools to get you there. Because if you just ram something in, I'm sorry, darling, that is not gonna feel good, and that is not helping your fear or your discomfort narrative that you have going on. We are trying to take that and move that out of the way and experience pleasure. Slight discomfort for 10 seconds and then pleasure and bliss and euphoria. So learning about what you like rather than doing it for somebody else's pleasure is gonna help you get into the right mindset when you're approaching anal or any type of backdoor play. Now, before we dive into our second tip, which is the warm-up, I wanna let you guys know that all my Moody merch is officially 50% off right now. So if you enjoy my content and you wanna support me and my content creation, then you can do so by clicking that link down below and going and purchasing a Moody merch hoodie. All right, now let's dive back into our second tip, which is going to be that warm-up, and baby, it is crucial. Okay, babe, so the warm-up is a step that you definitely don't want to be missing at all, because it is also the most important for safe anal sex. You don't want to tear, you don't skip that warm-up. You want to receive her pleasure, you don't skip that warm-up. Just like regular foreplay, before you go into penetration, you want to warm the area up through massage, whether it be oral or with our fingers or with a toy. For anal, it's the exact same thing. You wanna take a decent amount of lube onto your finger and massage around the anus. Now you can do this and add it into foreplay, or you can add it into intercourse too. But the main point is you wanna be priming the anus before you actually push past that sphincter muscle. One of my tips that I have for you is actually to have at least one orgasm before you go into penetration. This is because oxytocin is released in our body, those endorphins. It's gonna flood through, making the process a lot easier, and you're gonna be a lot more relaxed. Now, once you have had your pre-anal orgasm, you have massaged the anus, now you wanna push past that sphincter muscle, you're going to need to add, guess what? more lubrication. Lube is incredibly important in any type of anal play. It will ensure that you don't rip and that you don't tear, and those are two very, very likely things that will happen if you do not use lubrication. No, spit is not good, and no, water is also not good enough. We need that lubrication as the anus does not lubricate itself like the vagina does. So that brings us to our third tip, which is lubrication. Use lube, sweetie. Please, for the love of God, use lube. Now, I personally prefer a silicone-based lube because it is much thicker, it lasts longer, meaning you do not have to apply it as frequently as you would compared to a water-based lube, and the glide just feels like silk. Now, they also do make water anal-based lubes too. I just haven't had really good experiences with any one of them, and I have tried probably about 6 or 7, so I always go for that silicone. But if you'd like to try a water-based anal-specific lube, then definitely you can do so, boo. So whether it's your fingers, a dildo, or a penis pushing past that sphincter muscle, you want to make sure you are going really slow. And this solely depends on you, the receiver, not the penetrator. So that means speak up. You can say slow down and add lube if you feel like you need more. And let me tell you something, you are going to be using lube a lot more than you probably think. Like, I'd say at least a half a cup. Now, I do want you to note that when you are out buying your lube, you might come across a lube with a numbing agent in it. However, I want you to completely avoid getting that one. Do not buy the lubes that have the numbing agent in them, because if something goes wrong, like you are tearing, or there is pain on site, or there is something else that's happening, you will not know because you are absolutely numbed out, but you will know when that numbing agent wears off and you're in a tremendous amount of pain. So despite how tempting that numbing agent might be, avoid it at all costs. You need to be aware of your body and what is happening. The pain receptors are there for a reason. Your pleasure receptors are also there for a reason. Because when you numb out the pain, you are also going to be numbing out the pleasure. So we just need to stick to that basic silicone anal lube. Skip out the numbing agent. Okay, B? And the last one, which is number 4, which is going to be your positioning. Now, I just released a whole series on positioning for beginner, intermediate, and then on this Thursday, advanced comes out. So there's different positionings for wherever you fall in the scale of anal pleasure. So for me, the very first time I had anal sex, I was standing in a shower, bent over in that standing doggy. Let me just tell you, that was not the best position to be in because I was being stretched out in all of the worst ways possible, and that is exactly why I did tear. So the second you think positioning doesn't matter, think again. It does, especially if you are trying to avoid that discomfort. I think one of the best positions to do when you are really nervous about receiving anal is actually being the one who is guiding. So girl on top in a cowgirl position, and then that way you are completely in control of the depth of penetration and the speed of penetration. There is going to be nothing that your partner can do that is completely savage. Also, this is going to be my bonus tip. Wear a butt plug about 2 hours prior, or all day if you want to, before you partake in anal sex. That will already be pre-stretching that sphincter muscle that we are talking about. So it will go in a lot easier, especially when you add copious amounts of lube. And remember, if you're gonna use the butt plug beforehand, guess what? You still need lots of lube. Anal sex should never be painful. If there is pain present, stop, pull back, and try again another day, because that is your body's way of telling you, no, something bad is gonna happen and there is too much room for air. There might be a little bit of discomfort, but if you are like biting down and there is pain present, nope, done, back out. But I do want to say, once you have the right lubrication, you have the right mindset, you have the best position for you, you can have anal sex be absolutely, completely enjoyable. I am proof of that. I went from being terrified to being like, oh heck yeah, let's do it. Just let me prep and let me get in the right headspace. Plus, anal sex actually allows better access to your clitoris, so you can do a double stimulation at the same time. And us as females, a lot of us already climax through clitoral stimulation, so that's another great way to spice up that anal sex. I also feel like I need to add this in. Never go from anus to vagina or anus to mouth. talk about bacterial infections. And finally, last but not least, I want you to be really mindful of that communication, how your partner is feeling, and do not forget about aftercare. Aftercare is so important. All right, babies, that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoy the style of content that I produce, make sure you click that link down below to support me and receive 50% off your Moody merch hoodie. All right, babies, I will see you on Thursday for advanced positions for anal play. Cheers.